Okay, everybody, so today we're going to be talking about Wagner's Tristan chord, or as Darth Vader says, Tristan chord. So this is the half-diminished chord, okay? And in music theory, everyone knows that the diminished chord is like, right, minor thirds all the way through. So the half-diminished chord, you kind of just raise the last note up. You raise it too. Right? Creates that really magical feeling. And so I also like to think about the half-diminished chord or the Tristan chord as minor chord plus a sixth, okay? Right? And that is actually one of the inversions. And then there's another inversion, which is, the third inversion. This can be thought of as a major 6 with a flat 5, okay? And then one more is the fourth inversion, I guess. Okay, so that's the half-diminished chord for all of you. And so I really like this chord because it's really magical in the right settings, You could be playing something really happy. And then once you switch it to Tristan chord, right, you have that immediate magical quality. Let's do it again. Right? This one's just having the ninth in the chord. But once we add the right? When you hear that, you just feel like things are unresolved. Things are yearning. There's this mournful gesture, right? And that's really nice. This is the minor 7th, right? This is the diminished, and this is the half-diminished, okay? So the half-diminished is really kind of similar to both of these sounds, right? But it's just got that extra little bit of magic to it, okay? First of all, half-diminished, immediately when you think half-diminished, you should think minor. It's a minor chord, okay? It's not a happy chord, all right? So the first thing that you want to do to build it is you want to just find 3 diminished notes. So any 3 diminished notes, right? And then when you're building the last note, right? If you're going up, you're gonna go for 1/2 step above what you would normally do with your diminished chord. So you go up. And if you're going down, then also going 1/2 step up. Always up. Okay, so once again, just any 3 random diminished chord notes. So, right? So we could play either, or we could play, right? And so that's kind of how you think about it. And then of course you can also build it from a minor chord, right? You play any minor chord, and then you just add either the whole step up from the 5th note, or you add 1, 2, 3. 3 half steps down. Okay, so again, any minor chord, B flat minor, then you just add 1 whole step up, or you add, boom, 3 steps down. Okay, so that's how you build the half-diminished chord in your improvisations. And then we can also try the inversions of the minor chords. So I guess the way to think about the Tristan chord is that the note that's added is always 3 half steps below your root note or your tonic note, so your C. So in this case, once we go here, we just have to find our C, and then we just go 3 steps down. 1, 2, 3. Right? Okay, so let's do D minor. And then this is the second inversion of D minor, right? So what do we do to make it a Tristan? Find a D and then go 1, 2, 3. Okay, so that's the rule for getting to the Tristan chord really quickly in your improvisations. So the first way of doing it is going by the diminished route. Any 3 notes, if you're extending it upwards, you just add 1/2 step up. And if you're extending it downwards, you just add 1 half step up again, okay? And then of course going the minor chord way, I think is easier because we think in terms of minor chords a little bit more. So anytime you bring out a minor chord, you just find a tonic note and then you bring it down by 3 half steps, okay? Right? This is an E flat minor chord, right? Find the E flat minor and then bring it down, right? Okay, so that's how you build it. All right, now let's talk about, just when to use it in a piece. So you can really just, this is actually another chord that's not even a, this is like my twisted version of a half diminished chord, because half diminished chord is this, right? And then I just bring up the half diminished chord, bring up this note by 1, right? So actually, I don't know what this chord is called. Maybe someone can educate me. I think this should be called the major diminished chord, because basically we have a dominant chord and then we're just bringing down the 5. So this is a cousin of the half diminished chord, right? Because if you want to get to the half diminished, you just bring this down by 1, okay? Same thing, let's do just a random chord. This is a minor major chord, right? So how to get to the half diminished from this chord? You have to bring down both the 3rd note and the 4th note down by 1 half step, okay? Let's just do one more chord, just because I feel like this is useful for people who are, building out their pieces and then they just want to get to the half diminished chord somehow, but they don't know how, right? So here we go. This is a regular major 6, right? And so what do we know about major 6s? Is that once we bring down the note to a minor, it becomes a half diminished chord, okay? So I think, as long as you practice this part where you're constantly just taking any chord, right? Okay, like that's really, really, really dissonant. So in order to move this to a half diminished chord, we're gonna have to move this down and then move this down, right? And so by doing this exercise often, you're gonna be able to figure out how to use the half diminished chords in your pieces more often. So let's go ahead and improvise, and I'm just gonna try to use this half diminished chord as much as possible. Okay, this is a piece that's completely, just almost ridiculously, using too many half diminished chords. And the only reason I'm doing this is purely for example purposes. And so that way you guys can get a real feeling for this piece. It's like the half diminished chord trying to express itself. yeah, the half diminished chord, you know, when I was playing, I was just kept on thinking about, I think the first step to learning a new chord is really to find the chords that you use the most, like the major chord, and try to work your way to the half diminished chord, you know? So in this case, once we have the major chord, remember to move the fifth down by 1, right? And then add a 6. And that's the half diminished chord right there, right? So every time you have that situation, you just go ahead, make sure you get the 6th note in there, and then you move the 5th down by 1, right? And then when you have a minor chord, you don't have to do as much work, you just have to add the note that's 3 half steps down, okay? And then when you have diminished chord, whatever extension that you're usually gonna do, just add 1 half step up, right? And so these 3 ways you're gonna get to the half diminished chord from your most commonly used major and minor chords. Okay, I hope that's helpful. Let me know in the comment section what was helpful, what was not, and what we can make these videos better, how we can make these videos better.